What's up everybody, welcome back or to the channel. So today we're going to be doing a real quick fix on my 2019 Brute Force 750 right behind me over here. So what we're going to be doing today is reupholstering the seat, because the seat that I have on here now must have been damaged by the previous owner. It just had a small cut in the rear part of the seat, and then they tried to fix it with some of that like black vinyl glue and fill it in. But I really don't like that because I still feel like moisture and mud and gunk is going to get in that little area and start to eventually ruin the foam padding below the vinyl, and I don't want to ruin the seat. So what I want to do today is rip that factory seat cover off, and we're going to be replacing it with a new seat cover that I ordered online. So without further ado, let's jump in and I'll show you what we're working with. Okay, so if we come over here and look, this is what I'm referring to right there. So if you see right here, there must have been a tear there already, and they tried to fill it in with almost like a black vinyl glue. But you can see right here, it's not really fully covering the seat cushion that well. And over time, that is just gonna cause more and more issues. So as you can see here, that whole area was kind of damaged. So what we're gonna do is just take the seat off. We're gonna remove this cover here, and then we're gonna replace it with a new cover that I just purchased. Now the cover that I purchased, I got off eBay, and I'll put a link in the description in case you need one for yourself. But pretty much there are multiple different seat covers out there that you can choose from. I wanted one that was pretty much close to being factory, but there are aftermarket ones as well. Now, the same process for installing a seat cover is relatively the same no matter which cover you get. So we're gonna go ahead and remove the seat, and I will show you step by step what you have to do to reupholster your seat. Okay, so I went ahead and just removed the seat. Now, as you can see here, the seat is pretty much just being held in by staples all the way around the perimeter of the seat. So probably the hardest part of doing this whole process is getting in there with a set of needle nose pliers and pulling out every single one of those staples. So that's one thing we gotta do. So as far as what tools we're gonna need, probably some type of pliers. Needle nose probably works best, but any type of pliers to pull those existing staples out. We have that. And then some type of staple gun, whether it's gonna be a manual staple gun like this, or you can use a pneumatic staple gun like this. If you happen to have an air presser, these work a little bit better. The main reason I like to use these types of pneumatic staplers is because the tip is usually a little bit more narrow and gets into tighter spaces compared to just a big chunky tip like that, which does make getting into tight spaces a little bit more difficult, but either one of those will work. The staples that we're gonna be using today are just the heavy duty 9/16 14 millimeter staples. These work perfectly fine. These type of staples will work with these type of manual guns or with pneumatic staplers like this. And then you're gonna need your seat cover. Now this seat cover here, again, I bought on eBay. It should be a factory replacement for that particular seat right there. Now this particular seat cover that I got off eBay did take a few weeks to receive because it was coming from Poland. So from Poland to the United States, it just took a little bit longer. But it was probably one of the most affordable factory OEM replacement seat covers for my 2019 Brute Force 750. So this is all you're gonna need is pretty much a new seat cover, whether it's an OEM style or some type of aftermarket seat cover. You're gonna need a set of needle nose pliers and some type of staple gun. So without further ado, let me start getting this prepared and we're gonna jump right into this. Okay, so the first thing you wanna do before you start taking off your existing seat cover is unbox your new seat cover and lay it out on top of the seat just to make sure that what you ordered and what you received is the correct size for this particular seat. So if I just kind of line this up and just take a little bit of overhang here and pinch it around the bottom where I think my staples are gonna go, I want to kind of feel the contour of the seat and tuck the back under and make sure that I have enough overhang on the back as well to staple. So I have some overhang on the front and overhang on the back. I know my length is good. Same thing on the sides. You wanna kind of stretch it out and fold it out into the sides to see that you have overhang on both sides, okay? Which is what we need. Because again, you're gonna need overhang on this particular seat cover in order to make sure everything is going to staple correctly. So again, I would always make sure first thing you do is just do a trial test fit of your cover to make sure it's gonna fit your particular seat. Because let's face it, a lot of seat covers are aftermarket seat covers, and sometimes they're more universal fit instead of an exact fit. So just make sure you kind of line it up to make sure everything is gonna fold over correctly. Again, there will be some tight spots, but we're gonna have to do some stretching. But overall, I think this seat cover is gonna work fine. So let me go ahead and fast forward the video, and I'll take out all these staples, and then we're gonna go ahead and get this installed. Okay, so we went ahead and we got all the staples removed. Now sometimes those staples are a little bit tight in there and you just need a little leverage. Just get a small screwdriver, get in there and leverage them up a little bit and then pull the rest of them out with your pliers. But we went ahead and got all the staples out. So let's go ahead and remove the factory seat cover here and inspect our foam. The foam looks pretty good. Again, this is a 2019. So I did not expect this foam to be really ruined, but as you can see right here, this is where that hole was. So it was starting to get a little damage there, but not a big deal. I'll just wipe that off and we should be good to go. But overall, you want to make sure you just do a quick little inspection of the foam, make sure everything's good. I would then maybe just take some type of cleaning cloth and just wipe off the outside perimeter of the seat cushion. That way you have a nice clean area to mount your new seat cover to. So let me go ahead and clean this up a little bit and then we're gonna start mounting the new seat cover on the seat. Okay, so now that we actually have the old seat cover taken off, all the staples are removed, we actually went ahead and cleaned underneath the seat, everything's good to go. Then you wanna take your new seat cover and line it up on the seat and try to center it. Now some seat covers, I can't speak for all, but some seat covers have a little notch or some type of marking the center of the seat cover. And then you just want to overlap it and just use your fingers underneath to kind of feel there's enough space for the overlap and then feel for enough space on the back for overlap. And I think that is pretty good right there. So what we'll do is flip this over. Now again, knowing about right here is my center point, which is right where my notch is. What I probably will do is start at the front, fold it over, put a couple tacks in up here, then we'll stretch it, fold it over, and put a couple tacks in the back because there's also a notch in the back for the center point marking as well. Okay, good to go there. So let's go ahead and get a couple in here. So let me just measure this up a little bit. The easiest thing to do is find a center point that's easy to recognize. So if you got these two humps right here, it's pretty easy to find the center point right there, and then just fold your lip over to the center point. So I'd say we're pretty good with that. So let me just go ahead, fold that over. Okay, that looks pretty good there. Okay. Let's throw a couple more in here real quick. Just get that nice and tight. So now that we got our staples up here, let me just try to put a little bit more tightness up here. Okay, so now we have a good bit of staples up there. We'll fold it back over, and then what I want to try to do is pull it to try to create some tightness here. Okay. So just kind of hold the front and stretch it a little bit around the back. And the same thing, just try to line the back up with this center notch right here to a center point on the seat. Okay. So a little bit over, a little bit. All right, so that looks pretty good there. Okay. Okay, and then we can always fold this back in here in a minute when we get to the sides, because once we fold it over, we'll just kind of fold that back over a little bit like that. Now, we just gotta go ahead and start one of our sides. Let's actually just make sure we've got the same amount on either side. All right, that feels pretty good there. Okay, so we're gonna fold this up and over. Okay. Just watch your fingers. Going around these bends, sometimes you just have to kind of do a little pulling and tugging to find out the best way to get that fold to happen, to really minimize any kind of wrinkling on the opposite side. So just again, just keep tugging and pulling on it, stretching it in. All right, and then we'll just keep tucking this under. Okay, so we're just kind of stretching it into place. And that's what's nice about having a pneumatic stapler like this, is because it gets into a lot of tight spots that a typical manual stapler might not. And stretching it is definitely important. Stretch it the best you can. Again, the key is constantly stretching and pulling. That is going to help make sure you get a much tighter, professional looking fit. Also a tip, try not to do this on too cold of a day. You want to make sure you're doing this on a nice warm day, or at least leave the seat cover out in room temperature, or even better yet, on a sunny day, leave the seat cover outside in the sun. Let it kind of soften and stretch a little bit, okay? So far it's coming along. We just got to get some of this stretching up here in the front. But the back's turning out pretty good. We just got a little bit more stretching to do. Now, stretching these seat covers out is not always the easiest thing to do. And you also have to make sure that understand that your expectations might not be an exact OEM fit. Because again, a lot of these seat covers are aftermarket. Even if they say they're an OEM seat cover, it doesn't mean it's an actual OEM seat cover. It's probably a seat cover that has been designed to be an OEM fit, but it doesn't actually mean that it is an OEM seat cover. This might not be a specific OEM Kawasaki branded seat cover. It's probably a seat cover that's been specifically designed and manufactured to the specifications of a Kawasaki seat cover, but it doesn't mean that it is one. So just keep in mind, when you're buying these seat covers online, even if they do fit, they might not be an exact fit, and they might not give you that perfect showroom condition look that you might be trying to achieve. But if you keep pushing and pulling and stretching, it should turn out pretty good. bit more here, and then we should be done. So let me just keep trying to pull and tug. Okay. So again, as I keep saying, I hate to keep reminding you, but just every couple inches, keep tugging and pulling and stretching. Because stretching is the key. Okay, so now that we got it installed, you'll see that it looks like there's a little bit of excess material right here, and it's not real tight. Now keep in mind, the seat is no longer on the actual bike. So what happens with this tight vinyl seat cover, it's gonna be tight. So what it's doing is, because I stretched it out, it's actually pulling the seat up and bending it into place. Once we get it onto the bike and stretch it out, it'll look a lot tighter. So let me go ahead and mount this on the bike, and we're gonna stretch it out. And then again, ride it a little while, leave it out in the sun, let that stretch. If you need to, you can always go back through, take a few staples out of the front, tug it a little tighter because maybe it's stretched a little bit more, and add a few more staples. But this is basically all you gotta do. So let me go ahead and put it back on the ATV, and we should be pretty much wrapping up. Okay, so we went ahead and we got the seat installed back on the bike. As you can see, there's a little bit of extra material going on there, but I need this to stretch out first because I'm doing it on a semi-warm day. It's not super hot outside. I'll just let this stretch out a little bit longer, and then if I need to, I'll flip it back over, take a few staples out, do a little bit more pulling and stretching, and then re-staple it. But everything so far looks pretty good. It's back on the bike. It looks fairly good on the bike. Couple wrinkles in the back, I can always let stretch and take that out later, but overall, everything's back on and it's back to looking like a factory seat again. Okay, everybody, so there you go. That's how simple and easy it is to reupholster your ATV seat. Now, you could probably do this on your motorcycle or anything else. It's probably a very similar procedure on any seat reupholstering. So again, it's not that hard. You just have to pull the staples out, remove the old seat cover, line up the new seat cover, stretch it out, put a couple staples in place to hold it, keep stretching it all the way around your seat. Just keep pulling and stretching and stapling along the way. Eventually you'll get it right, and even after you're done, let it out in the sun a little bit, and if it stretches a little bit, pull the seat back off, take a couple staples out where it seems to be loose, pull it a little bit tighter, re-staple it, and you'll be good to go. But overall, it's very simple and easy to do it yourself. You don't need a pneumatic stapler to do this. You could do it with a manual stapler if you want. But again, doing it yourself is going to save you a ton of money, and it's really easy to do. But that's it for today's video. I hope it helps some of you out. Do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button, like this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section, and I'll get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Also, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel because it definitely helps me out, and I greatly appreciate it. So that's it for today's video. I just wanted to say thank you to each and every one of you. I truly appreciate you all. Thank you. And as always, see you in the next video.